with us was named Sparky, so we kept the name in his honor, but they all have their own personalities. And that is one of the reasons we do the shows like this, where you can actually see their training. So you start to see all of our animals as individuals. As you watch all of them on stage here, you can see they do a lot of the same behaviors, but they all have their own unique flair, as Poppy is demonstrating right now. So you start to develop a little empathy for them. Another reason for this training is to allow them to express behaviors they would have in the wild that they don't necessarily need here, but what you just saw was something called porpoising. That is something they'll do when they're evading predators. That is actually Poppy giving us her seal impression. The main difference between sea lions like Poppy and seals, there we go, is how they move. Scooting along on your belly using your back legs, that is technically called galumphing. That is actually the scientific term for it. It's been used in papers, true story. Sea lions don't have to do that. They can actually rotate their flippers under their body and walk around. They can even spin 360s like this. And they're very flexible, which also combined with their 4 very strong flippers makes them very maneuverable. Where seals are a little bit more, as I like to describe, maybe sausagey. Yeah, Poppy can even dance a little sea lion jig. So another reason for this type of training is for something called husbandry behaviors. Husbandry is a fancy way of saying animal health care. Do any of you ever have to go in for a checkup? Yeah? You go see your vet? Yeah. Do you ever have to open up and say, go in for a dental checkup? Take a look at Poppy's teeth there. That's a nice smile of nothing but straightened fish hooks. Comes in handy, when most of your diet is fish. You may notice, though, that they don't necessarily have nice white pearly teeth like we do. That is actually natural. That is not because she does not brush her teeth. She actually does get her teeth brushed. But they have brown enamel, so toothbrushing is one of those husbandry behaviors we'll do. Also, as she was just demonstrating, body presents and moving their flippers in certain ways so they can, the zookeepers that is, can get a look at their range of motion and their flexibility and their strength. And we'll actually do this training 3 times a day. 2 of them are during a program like this. And so because we do it so frequently, we can tell right away if something changes, and then we know to look a little more closely at their health. And so this type of training means they're participating in their own health care. So rather than it being something that is done to them, it is something that they can actually do with their keepers. And they all have a primary trainer, someone that trains with them 5 days a week. And so they get to know them. And, sometimes do you ever get kind of uncomfortable when it's time to go in for a checkup? You don't always know your doctor. You don't always know what's expected of you. Well, because they work with the same trainer each day, they get very comfortable with them and they begin to trust them. And, being with someone you trust when you're doing something that might be a little uncomfortable makes it a lot easier. Now, another difference between seals and sea lions is sea lions will hunt cooperatively, and they can also swim up to about 35 miles an hour. I don't have my radar with me, so I don't know how quickly she's going right now, but when you go home from the zoo today, ask your driver when you hit 35 miles an hour, and then look out your side window and imagine Poppy cruising along at 35 miles there. So, what would you call that behavior? Wasn't really a handstand because, sea lions, no hands. Maybe a chin stand. Thank you. She's actually applauding my terrible jokes. They only get worse as the day goes on. Okay, that's usually what I expect. I expect the sea lions to be heckling me. Thank you. I was starting to worry that you weren't the real Poppy. Just kidding. There's only one Poppy. Now, unlike seals, they can actually move in reverse like that. And one of the reasons for the differences is sea lions will spend a lot of time hauled out of the water in big groups. We call a collection of sea lions like that a rookery. And you look at the sides of her head, you can actually see that she has ear flaps, just like we do. You can see all our ears, right? So that actually helps you hear sound through the air. The ears actually allow you to collect sound waves. where seals just have openings in the sides of their head because they spend a lot more time underwater, and sound travels differently underwater. It's actually easier for the seals to hear underwater that way. And they will hunt solitarily, alone, where sea lions are much more social animals. And then once they've wrapped up their training, they will get the ice that has been in the bottom of their bucket, soaking up all that fish juice. And you may notice Nico in the back. Oh, and here's Subi as well. They each ate about half the ice in their buckets, and now immediately went to check out what Poppy had in hers. Does this look familiar to anybody? Do you have more than one dog at home? Do you ever have to make sure that they don't check out each other's diet? Yeah, same thing with these guys. And one of the reasons for that similarity is sea lions and all pinnipeds are part of a big group of mammals that we call carnivorans. And carnivorans include canines, like your dogs at home. They also include felines, like our big cats, our lions and tigers. And they include ursids, like our bears. Now, so because they're all related, share a lot of the same behaviors, it makes this type of training really easy to adapt for all these different animals. Does anyone remember what I called this training at the start of the show? Also,